What's called that? Right?
Mhm.
Youngest.
Mhm.
Also has a couple of Shabbos stories.
Anyway, we're up to Daf Nun Aleph today. Daf Nun Aleph, we're up to Daf Nun, 3 lines down where the lines get wide, Tana Rabbanon. And we've been discussing about Cohen. We're discussing about Cohen, predominantly about Cohen, she gets streifa. Everyone seems to be moda, she gets streifa. She's an Arusa. The machlokas is what happens when she, in a Sua. What's the machlokas when she's an Arusa? According to the Tanakama, you would get skila. According to Reb Shimon, you would get streifa. That was what we saw, the sheet we saw yesterday. And yeah, okay. So the pasuk that we have to know well is Ubasish Kohen, Kiseichel Liznois Esavia. Kiseichel, when she begins to turn away from her father, Esavia Himechaleles, Be'esh Tisarif. Now, if I would just use the word chilel to you, what would you say? What's it talking about? Chilel. You say it's about Shabbos, right? What? No, not Hillel. We're speaking about Shabbos, right? Right. I'm saying you would think it's speaking about Shabbos. Now, guys, we're going to bring in a very, very long brisa. Some of it very difficult, and the rest of the daf is going to be spending most of the time explaining the brisa. At least the first amid explaining the first brisa. So again, as always, we're going to speak in brisa, and then we're going to get the classic words amar, and then we're going to go over and explain the brisa. Okay, so we're starting from Tan Rabbanan. It says Ubasis koyin ki seichel liznais esavia he michalelas beishi sarif yachal afilu chiles Shabbos. I might think she gets streifa for chil Shabbos. Now, if regular persons michal Shabbos, they get skila. If a person, so what kind of havamin is that? What she should get less? Again, according to the Chachamim, streifa is less than skila, right? So beishi sarif, she's going to get, it's michalelas. She's going to get what? Streifa? Says the Gemara Tamalayma liznais. Liznais is lashon of znus. Bechilulin shebiznus akosim medaber, which is mechalal inyan znus. The pasuk is speaking about. Okay, and the Gemara is going to ask the kasha that I just presented to you. Yachal afilu penuya. I would think what even a penuya, meaning an unmarried girl, that if she has illicit relations, even though she's not married, I might think she gets streifa. An unmarried baskoyin. This is all baskoyin. All baskoyin. So I might think an unmarried baskoyin that she gets sreifa. Nemar kan avia. It says by over here by baskoyin, guys. Listener says avia. The nemar lahalan. It says by nairu murasa. It says by nairu murasa. It says the lashon of aviha. Malahalan by nairu murasa znus imzikas habal, with what? A connection to a husband. She's a naira hamurasa. Afkan, so too by baskoyen, it must be znus imzika sabal. Now notice, guys, it doesn't say the lashon of arusa. Why don't you just say arusa? Because an asua also would get streifa, right? An asua would also get streifa. So it can't say arusa. Zika sabal means she's attached to a husband. She's attached to a husband. So again, how do you know that not Shabbos? It says liznais. How do you know not a penuya? Because we make a via to Naim Murasa. Just like Naim Murasa, she's betrothed to a man. Who hadin the baskoyen is she's betrothed to a man. Again, this is the brisa. We're going along the whole brisa, and we're going to explain it going over the brisa. Now. Maybe it's speaking where she has znus with her father. Maybe it's speaking where she has znus with her father. Now, fellas, the Gemara is going to ask, what the halacha is, any person that's with their daughter gets sreifa. So what would be the uniqueness about Baskayan? The Gemara is, again, I'm introducing you the Gemara, right? This is all the brisa, and I'm introducing you. But keshu oimer hi mechaleles havi kol adam oimer, and when it says hi mechaleles, meaning it happened to her, hamani mekayim aviyah. Nemakan aviyah v'nemar lahalan aviyah. Malahalan by nine merasas nusim sikas abal. Afkan nusim sikas abal. Right. Imalahalan naira v'hi arusa. Afkan naira v'hi arusa. Naira v'hi nesua. How do you know it's a naira? She's in the sua. Baskoyin just in the sua. By geres v'hi arusa. A naira is from again a 12 in a day. till Bageris 12 and 6 months. So in other words, if you're going to make the comparison to Naim Murasa, maybe she only gets Sreifa when she's exactly like a Naim Murasa, not a Nesua and not a Naira. Right? Not a Nesua because it says Arusa, and not a Naira because not a Naira, not a Bageris because it says Bageres v'arusa, bageres v'nesua, va'afilu hiskina. Even if she gets older, minayin Talmud Leimar, it says ubas koyem mikol makim. The vav of bas koyem midash from that vav mikol makim. Bas koyem. Okay, now continuing along the brisa, bas koyem in ainli ella shenisas lekoyem. A bas koyem, I would say only if what ella shenisas lekoyem. Only if she marries a koyem. Nisas leLevi uli Yisrael laOived kichavim. Now Oived kichavim we're going to change to kuti because kedushin is not typhus by what? By Oived kichavim, and this is speaking before we found out that the kutim were gerei arayos, but they were gerei emes. I might think so. I might think that what ainli elish nisas lekayin nisas leLevi Yisrael Oived kichavim lechalel, a kayin that's born as a result of what of illicit union, gerusha, chalutza, lemamzer, ulin a sin. The sin is from the Gavoinim. They were guys of chasnas minayin. How do you know that bas kayin there? Talmud Leimer ubas ish kayin afapi shena kehenis. Now, what kind of havamin is this, fellas? What havamin is that we're speaking. She has to be married. It says bas kayin ainly el shenisas the kayin. Why would you say nisas the kayin? Bas kayin means the father was a kayin. It doesn't mean she's married to a kayin. Hap Rashi ainly el shenisas the kayin the kamei parich mehecha teisa. From where would you learn out that what that he ha. Just because she'd be married to a Levi or Bas Yisrael or a Yisrael, it would take away from being a Bas Kayin. Bas Kayin means you go after the father. It's nothing to do with the marriage. So what the brisa that you need a lima to tell me that what? That she's still Sreifa, even though she's married to what? People who are not Kahanim. This is the brisa, but Rashi says the brisa so it's so shverlich right away off the top of your head. It begs to be explained. So Rashi says, hang in there, you get an answer. Ubasish kayin says bas ish afapishena kahenis. Even though she's what, she's not a kahenis. He besreifa again. We're dashing that pasuk. Ubasish kayin he besreifa. The ain't boila besreifa. She gets sreifa. But her boila, the one who's boil her, does not get sreifa. He would get chenek. He besreifa the ain't zaymemeha besreifa. He would get she would get sreifa. But if two people come along and say that she was in the Zana and they turned out to be Eidim Zayimim, they would not get Sreifa, they would get what? They would get Chenek. Right. Rabbi Eliezer says something very cryptic, fellas. Rabbi Eliezer Oimer, Esavia b'Sreifa, ve'eschamia b'Skila. Okay, if you don't understand what that means, that's okay. That's okay. Amamar. Now going back over the whole brisa. Amamar, going back over the whole brisa. So Rabbi Avi, we just said a brisa and explain it. We're up to Nun Aleph from an Aleph, the second word line. Amamar. Yochel afilu chil l'Shabbos. I might think when it says esavihi mechaleles, I might think even chil Shabbos. Says the Gemara, chil Shabbos, baskilahi. Why would we be makel? Again, this is according to the Chacham in this price, ostensibly. What's the most severe punishment? Skila. Okay. So what's the second one? Sreifa. So now, what do you go ahead? You're telling me esavim is chaleles, meaning if she's mechal Shabbos, what's she going to get? Sreifa. Why in the world? What kind of havamin is to be more makel than what? Than skila. Amarava hamani. Who's the Tana of the Brises? Rav Shimoni. The Tana of the Brises, Rav Shimon. The Amar Sreifa Chamura. So what's the chiddush then? So then you're not telling me. So let's go through it. So now, a regular mechal Shabbos gets what? Skila, which is less chomer. But if she's mechal Shabbos, she's going to get sreifa. That's shahavamina. You hear this? We're going to upgrade her, kaviyachal, right? We're going to upgrade her. What kind of havamina is this? Says the Gemara. Hamani, who's the Tana of the Mishnah of Shimoni? The Amar sreifa chamura. Salkadai the chaminon hoyel va'ach mebu rachmana. Pikahane the Rabbi behu mitzvahs yiseiros. Since what? We know the kahanim, they got extra mitzvahs, so there's a little extra chiyuv on the kahanim to be squeaky clean. So I might think, therefore, what? Tidim b'sreifa, that you should get the more severe punishment A regular Jew gets skila, but a bas kohen who what is married, right? Kamash malon.
Why
Now,
only a bas kohen?
Fred the Gemara, why is she different than him? In other words, the kohen also should get it. So Sakadach, I mean, Iu the Ishtrela Shabbos the Gabi. In other words, Benji's asking, fellas, if it has to do with the fact that you increase by what? Increase by the kahuna, so why would you be limited to what? To the bas kohen getting sreifa, like Rav Shimon? A regular kohen certainly should get sreifa. Yet it's mashma, he gets skila. So why is she more severe than him? He would get skila, which is level 2, shlav 2, according to Rav Shimon, and she's going to get sreifa, right? Why would you think that? So listen, Gemara is unbelievable. Saklei Amina, Iu de Ishtrela Shabbos, by him, that Shabbos is mutal gabi avoida. We went through this Gemara, right? The avoida is like a Shabbos. Carbon tamid, shchita, right? Is like a Shabbos, right? Like a Shabbos. So kivin loy ish, but he, so in other words, him that it's like a Shabbos will be more makel and therefore will give him skila. But he kivin loy ishtri Shabbos legaba, ema tidan b'sreifa kamash malan. So it's, in other words, we have a havamina. Again, this is all havaminas, guys. But the havamina is that since she is a part of the kahuna, and since she there's never ever a time where she can be mechal Shabbos, we get sreifa. Mashen came to kayin, since what? He's mechal Shabbos every Shabbos when it's his turn, because he brings the karman tamid, right? So therefore he's skila. Kamashmal on that what? That no, it's not speaking about chilul Shabbos at all. It's speaking about lisnois. It's speaking about snus, and it's not speaking about chilul Shabbos. Yachal afil penuya. All right. Now I might think what even a bas kain penuya would get what sreifa. Fellas, what does lisnois mean? To turn away from. It means you're turning away from your husband. You're turning away from your father who betrothed you. If she's a penuya, what's the lashon of snus? Says the Gemara, I feel a penuya ha lisnois ksiv. It says lisnois. I would say, says the Gemara, this part of the brisa goes to the Rebbe Eliezer. Dama Rebbe Eliezer, panui haboy al penuya. If an unmarried man or boy lives with a girl who's a penuya, not married, shaloi l'shum ishus, not for the sake of ishus, asa zaina, she becomes a zaina, meaning she can't marry a kohen. Meaning she can't marry a kohen. So therefore, I would say what that maybe she lives nice. That's lashon nos, and therefore kamash malan. We learn for naira murasa avia avia. Okay, what was the next thing? Maybe it says avia as to be might kol adam. She'd only get sreifa if she lives with what? A father. Now, what's the kasha on this, guys? Abbas Yisrael also lives with the father, right? Elamai ninu shezinsa me'avia. You mean that she was with the father, and therefore she can get sreifa? My area bas kayin. Why do you care? It's a bas kayin getting sreifa. I feel Abbas Yisrael nami would get sreifa. The Amar Rava, Amali Rabbi Yitzchak, Baravdimi, Asya Heina, that she's also to her father, even a father that bore her out of wedlock. Asya Zima, that you get sreifa. Again, Rashi brings the psukim. In the beginning of Yavamis, we had this Gzeira Shava. So she's also to her father, even one born out of wedlock, and Zima, right? And also you get sreifa. So how could you have a havamina that she lives with her father, she gets sreifa, and you need a pasuk to tell me no? Why would you think that? She's no different than a bas Yisrael, but not a din that's unique to a bas kohen. Sreifa is mashmitz unique to bas kohen. If it's speaking about being mizana with one's father, that's not something unique. It's even a filu of bas Yisrael. You need to tell me about a kohen. And I would have said, Kra lafuke midarava. I would say the pasuk is coming to say, not like Rava. In other words, lafuke de Gzeira Shava, that a bas Yisrael, right? That I would say that it would be that maybe the bas Yisrael does not get sreifa. In other words, lafuke from the Gzeira Shava. I needed a pasuk to tell me lafuke from the Gzeira Shava, because the Gzeira Shava. Why would you need to tell me that she gets sreifa if you have the Gzeira Shava? So I might think that what it's lafuke the Gzeira Shava. Kamash malon not. Kamash malon. What's exactly over here is let's see Rashi, guys. Before it gets wide, about 7 lines up, 6, 7 lines up. Sakadai chamina hayavia kroya seirahu. The avia is extra. The Galia Sreifa bebas koyin shezinsa me'avia. It really means from a father. La fuke migzer shava de rava asyala meimar le sidrish le Yisrael haba al bita b'sreifa. In other words, that Rav is the one who tells us that what? Rav tells us, fellas, what? Heina heina zima zima. So why would the pasuk tell me that it's not true? Guys, outside, eye contact, eye contact, eye contact. How do you know a Bas Yisrael gets Sreifa if she's with her father? Heina heina zima zima. Yes? Therefore, would you need to tell me that a Bas Koyin that's with her father gets Sreifa? No. When therefore you do tell me that a Bas Koyin with her father gets Sreifa, it must be the Gezer Shava of Heina heina zima zima, a Bas Yisrael would not get Sreifa. Or else why would you have to tell me Bas Koyin? That's the Havamina. Fred the Gemara Kasha, why do you have to tell me that what? That Me'avia, I would say Sreifa. Fred the Gemara, Bas Yisrael is also Sreifa. How do you know Bas Yisrael is Sreifa? Heina heina zima zima. That's the. So therefore, why in the world would you tell me that what? By a Bas Koyin she's Sreifa if you have that Gzeira Shava? Ella, you know what I would say to Pasuk's come to tell me? You don't have the Gzeira Shava. That's what you would think.
Okay. You think that maybe you think by a Bas Koyin she gets the more challah.
No, not Bas Koyin, but a Bas Yisrael. You wouldn't know what a Bas Yisrael. You would not know that a Bas Yisrael gets. You would not know a Bas Yisrael gets Sreifa. You would not know. That's what you would think. Why would you think that? Right? Yeah, so I would say that Gzeira Shava is not true. In other words, it's dashing for something else, but not for this, not for Sreifa. Maybe something else, but not for Sreifa. Why would you say that? Or else, why are you telling me it's a mefurish pasuk, Yankel, the Bas Koyin b'Sreifa? Why would you tell me that if she's with her father, right? That's what the Gemara is saying right now. It says the Gemara, it's the Sakadei Mina Kra. The pasuk is Dafka. That what the Bas Koyin with her father is Lafuke Midarava. Midigali Rachmana b'Bas Koyin v'lei Bas Yisrael. When the Torah reveals Sreifa by Bas Koyin Bas Yisrael, Kemash Malon that what? No, Kemash Malon that not. Bas Koyin, it says Bas Koyin that what? Ainli Ela Shanisas LeKoyin. I would say only she married to a Koyin. Now, Bas Koyin does not mean married to a Koyin. Bas Koyin means her father was a Koyin. Good? So the Gemara, again, we're going over the Brisa. We're analyzing it piece by piece. The Brisa said, I would have thought, when does she get Sreifa? Only when she's married to a Koyin. Ainli Ela Shanisas LeKoyin. Nisas LeLevi, LeYisrael, again, Ovi Kechav Miskuti, Ula Cholol, Linisin, Ula Mamzer, Minayin, that what? She gets Sreifa, because in all these cases, Kedushin's Taifis, Talmud Leimar, Bas Ish Kayin, the daughter of a Kayin, meaning that as long as the father's a Kayin. Afa Pishein Kahenis. Friend the Gemara, Mishum de Insiva Luhu Lahani, La Bas Kayin. Just because she's married to one of these, she's not a Bas Kayin. Vesu, Midi Kahenis the Kayin Ksiv? I mean, it's really the same kasha. Is it Midi Kahenis the Kayin Ksiv? Salka, I mean, Seichel Liz, Nois Amrachmana. You know what Seichel means? Begins. I would think the first thing she does wrong is what? Is the act of znus that she does now. But what happens if she married to all the people she's not supposed to marry to? To an sin, to a mamza, to a kuti. So Kiseichel is like she's beginning to be mizaneh. Hani mili heich de kamischala hashda. That she's mischala now with this act of znus. Aval ha kivin de kamischala v'kaima meikara. Since she's already been mischala initially, why? By the act of marrying someone she shouldn't have. The amamar ubas kayin kisiel ish zar kivin shenivala lipsula. Since she had relations with someone who's pasla, she's pasla for the kahuna, for truma, and for the kahuna. Yeah, remember, Zoyna, fellas, Zoyna, we when we learn Yavamis, we fine-tune that, right? But Zoyna means that what? She's married someone's asa to her, right? It's not, they use the word, they use the word means a kadesha, right? This is a Zoyna. So now, a Zoyna is if she's a Bas Koyin, she can eat truma, and she can marry a Koyin. So I would say that what? So now that is what? That is explains Chalol, Nisin, Mamza. Yeah? Kuti. Fellas. Why do I need a pasuk to tell me that if she's that she's chayiv sreifa if she's married to these individuals? Because it says kiseichel liznais. What does seichel mean? She's beginning. That means the first act that she did wrong was this act of nus. But if she's married to these individuals, that's not the first act. She already is turned away. She already is puzzled. Now we're going to say about a Levi and Yisrael. She's not apostle, she's married Levi Yisrael. Yet we had that in the Brisa. Says the Gemara, the Levi Yisrael Nami, Ushva el Beis Avia, Kinureha. So if let's say she's married to one of the a Levi, if she's married to a Levi Yisrael, what can she do? Eat truma. She can't eat truma. She can't eat truma. However, Mechlal Dichi Isya Gabe, when she's with the Levi in Yisrael, Loyachla. So it's a type of chilul that she can't eat truma, right? One of the simonim of her being mischalel is that she can't eat truma. So I would think that maybe since when she's married to the Yisrael or the Levi, good, it's b'kedusha ubetayra, not a problem. But the inyan truma, it's mischalel. So I would think she doesn't get sreifa. Kamash balon, aim see the misreifa. Kamash balon that she does get sreifa. Kamash balon she gets sreifa. And a side point, like Reb Meir. Guys, so far we're so good. We're going through the Brisa piece by piece and explaining each segment. Udlay Reb Meir, the Tanya, Bas Kayin Shenisus Yisrael, a Bas Kayin marries Yisrael, Va'achla Truma, when she shouldn't eat Truma, Mishalemes is HaKeren. Again, if a Zor eats Truma, you pay Keren Chaimish. So, I'm at Mishalemes is a Keren, Ve'in Mishalemes is a Chaimish. She pays the Keren, she pays the principal, she doesn't pay the surcharge of the fifth. You know why? Because she can go back. If her husband dies or divorces her, she goes back. What? Unless she has a kid. Umisasa b'sreifa, and if she's mizana, she gets sreifa. Okay, this is what. So this is if she's married to Yisrael. Misasa b'sreifa, good. Nisas le'echad min apsulim, mishalem is keren v'chaimish, umisasam b'chenek. Div Reb Meir. So obviously it's not like Reb Meir, because Reb Meir says, "Well, you get sreifa." Reb Meir says you get chenek, and we say you get sreifa. We say if you marry one of these people, Reb Meir says no, you get chenek. So therefore, our brisa is like Reb Shimon, it's like Reb Elazar, it's not like Reb Meir. The Chachamim Maimrim zu v'zu, whoever she married, mishalem is keren v'chaimesh u'misasim b'sreifa. Now, Rabbi Eliezer, guys, is going to say something. He said in the brisa very cryptic things. We're going to have 4 pshatim to explain Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, Rabbi Eliezer said something very cryptic, and we're going to have 4 pshatim to go ahead and explain. We're going to have 4 pshatim to go ahead and explain Rabbi Eliezer. What does Rabbi Eliezer say, fellas? What does he say? Rabbi Eliezer Omer, eshavia b'sreifa, v'eschamia b'skila. So if I would teach it, if she's with her father, she gets sreifa. If she was her father-in-law, she gets skila. My eshavia v'eschamia. Ile my eshavia me'avia, she's with her father. V'eschamia mechamia, she's with her father-in-law. My yiri bas kayin. I feel by Yisrael Nami, Pitay b'sreifa v'kalasei b'skila. Fellas, it's not a din that's unique to Bas Kayin. This price is speaking of Bas Kayin. Rabbi Eliezer is saying a statement of Bas Kayin. Esavia b'sreifa v'eschamia b'skila. If you're speaking about Bas Kayin, and that's what it means, then it's not limited to Bas Kayin. That is in Pashas Kedoshim. That is the Issa. So if a man is a woman's with a father, it's Sreifa. If she's with a father-in-law, it's Skila. It's Skila. So why that can't be the Pshat? Because we're limiting this Rebbe Lezer's statements going in a Bas Kayin. The same halacha would apply to a Bas Yisrael. Good. Ella Esavia. What does Esavia mean, guys? Birshus Avia. It doesn't mean she's with her father. It means she's still living with her father. What's that? Why do we call that in the vernacular? An arusa. That's not arusa. She's living with her father. Ve'eschamia, and now she's living with her father-in-law. When do you live with your father-in-law? Nesua. Okay. So now, b'shus chamia kiman. So now, guys, let's go through. So listen to what you're saying, guys. You're telling me a bas kayin, arusa, and nesua, and you're using very funny lashon, right? Good. What do you know? If I'd ask you right now. I know no one's going to answer. If I'd ask you, so if Shimon says they're the same, why does the Chacham say? Arusa is what? Skila.
It's a stronger one.
Arusa is skila. Nesua is. What does Rebbe Elazar say? The opposite. He's saying the opposite. He's saying the Arusa is what? Is Sreifa, and the Nesua and the Chamia is skila. But 1 second. The Chacham say always skila. He had a problem, says the Gemara. In other words, fellas, we're going to try to fit Reb Shimon. They're going to 4 terutzim for Rabbi Eliezer. We're going to try to fit Rabbi Eliezer into 3 Tanoim. Guys, hear what I just, I'm setting you right up. I'm setting you right up. The easiest thing to say is Rabbi Eliezer is a Tana, and he argues. So we'd have 4 shittas. Good? We'd have 4 shittas. The problem is Rabbi Eliezer would make no sense the way it is now. So here's the shittas that we know. Yesterday's shittas. Abbas Koyen, Leite Chachamim, Arusa, Skila. Nesua, Sreifa. Reb Shimon, both Sreifa. Rabbi Yishmael, we're going to meet tonight. Arusa is Skila, I think so, or Sreifa, and Nesua is Chenek. Yeah? We're going to try to fit in Rabbi Eliezer into one of those 3, and we're going to have problems. What does Rabbi say? Esavia, Besreifa, Veschamia, Beskila. So good. If you're telling me the punishment of being with one's father, it's not limited to Bas Koyin, that's Reifa. If you're telling me the Isser of being with a father-in-law, it's not limited to Bas Koyin. Skil is also by a Bas Yisrael. So what are we saying? You know what it means? Rishus. So meaning, Rabbi Eliezer is telling me din an Arusa. An Arusa, Bas Koyin is Besreifa. Okay. And Nesua is Skila. We don't have such a shita. Guys, you hear? We don't have such a shita. Says the Gemara. Ikra Banan Rama Nesua Yatzal Sreifa V'Lei Arusa. Ikra Shimon Ame Echad Arusa V'Echad Nesua B'Sreifa. V'Ikra Yishmael Nimitz Rabbi Yishmael Amar Arusa Yatzal Sreifa V'Lei Nesua Eschamia Cheneku. So l'chayra, what? Who does Rabbi Eliezer hold like? Not the Rabbana, not Rav Shimon, and not Rabbi Yishmael. Okay, so Shalach Ravin Mishmei Reb Yaisi Reb Chanina Kachi Yitzah Shal Mishnah. Here's the way what you're going to explain the Mishnah. Here's the way here's the explanation what of the Mishnah according fit Reb Eliezer in. Now who does he hold like? Right? Shalach Ravin Mishmei Reb Yaisi Reb Chanina Kachi Yitzah Shal Mishnah Lo'ilam Kirabanan. Okay, guys, let's go. What do Rabbanan hold? Arusa is what? Skila. And Nesua is Sreifa, which is the opposite of Rebbe Elazar. The opposite of Rebbe Elazar. Good. V'hachi kamar. Kol shehu lemata me misas avia. Anything that's below the misa of the father. Umay niyo, that's Nesua. Bas Yisrael is, which this Bas Yisrael, the il Nesua Bas Yisrael bechenek. Hacha by Bas Kayin is b'misas avia, which is Sreifa. Again, by Nesua, when she's with Aviha, she's what? When she's with her father, you get Sreifa. What's below Sreifa? Chenek. Deal Nesua Bas Yisrael bechenek. Hacham Bas Kayin Aviha b'Sreifa. Kol she lemayla misas Aviha. Anything that's above Sreifa, umay niu Arusa Bas Yisrael would be Skila. Dila Arusa Bas Yisrael ba'alma b'skila, hacha b'misas chamia is b'skila. So we want to say cryptically one above. We want to say one above. Maskala of Yirmiyah midi l'mayla l'mataktani doesn't say anything about above and below. It says openly. It says Sreifa and by Arusa and skila by chamia. El Amar of Yirmiyah, a second attempt. La'olam Rabbi Yishmael. Okay, guys, let's try to figure this out. What does Rabbi Yishmael hold? Sreifa chenek. What did Rabbi Yeshua say? Sreifa skila. Good. So let's fit that in. Lo'ilan Krev Yishmael v'achi kamar es avia b'rshus avia. When it says es avia, it means when she's in rishus avia, when she's a rusa, b'sreifa. Okay, that works. That works for that's a chachamim, right? V'eschamia lo'ilan Krev. No, it's not the chachamim. It's a Yishmael. Sreifa. Arusa sreifa. The eschamia. That's when mechamia. When she's with her father-in-law, biskila, b'cholad nemechenek. So, guys, listen to what he's saying. Look outside. Look at me. What did Rabbi Eliezer say? He said, Sreifa by father, skila by father-in-law. Good. What does it mean, father, when she's in the rishus of the father? When she's in Arusa. Oh, if she's mizana when she's in Arusa, what does she get? Sreifa. What happens when she's with her father-in-law? Not in the rishus of the father-in-law, when she's with her father-in-law. Then she gets skila. With the father-in-law, she gets skila. But why does Rabbi and anyone else? gets chenek. So this teretz of Rav Yirmiyah is kind of making a hybrid. You're saying there's different mitzias. The first case is speaking rishus, and the second chami is speaking when you did an avera, right? That's again, they're trying to make the puzzle fit, guys. They're trying to make the puzzle fit. So again, loyal Kreb Yishmael whole sreifa chenek. V'achi kamar esavia b'shus avia when she's in her father's rishus, she's in arusa b'sreifa. V'es chamia. And when mechamia, and if she's with her father-in-law, beskila, v'chaladam, and if she say with anybody else when she's in the sewer, then chenek. Amarava, maishna, idi mamish. She's either doing an avera, idi rishus. They're both in rishus. How can you say that the one's speaking rishus, the other speaking when she did the avera? Ella, third attempt to figure out. Amarava. Shimon. Why does Shimon hold? Sreifa, right? Just like Arusa, she goes down. Guys, according to Shimon, she's going down from Skila to Sreifa, right? Going up. Going up. After the Suah, Chadarga Maskina le mechenik l'Skila. Guys, outside. What's Rav Shimon hold? What's the order of punishment? Sreifa, Skila, Chenek, Hereg. Right, that's his order. So now, the Eliezer's cryptic words is Rav Shimon. Sreifa. Just like an Arusa usually gets what? Skila. But we're going to upgrade it to Sreifa by Bas Kayin. So too, her father-in-law, where usually you get Chenek when you're with some person, we're going to upgrade her one level to Skila. That's Rav Shimon. So therefore, Rebbe Elazar is like Rav Shimon, and that would fit the words of Chamia and father-in-law and husband and father of Sreifa. Maskefla Rav Chanina ha'idi Rav Shimon b'Sreifa kamar. Rav Shimon said what? He said Sreifa. You have Skila. You made it fit. Guess what? But it doesn't fit. Sreifa. What do you hold? Sreifa Skila. Ella Amar Avina, guys, the easiest way. La'olam kirabanan. Now, guys, what did Rabbanan hold? Skila Sreifa. What did he hold? Sreifa Skila. Switch it around. Flip it over. Says the Gemara, La'olam kirabanan. Rabbi Elazar is like Rabbanan. Ve'epich, and switch it around. Esaviyah b'skila, not b'sreifa. Esaviyah b'skila, there's chamia b'sreifa, and her father-in-law would be b'sreifa. V'haydekame esaviyah, and that you said esaviyah, it's mashma v'loy arusa. Sircha ba'almanakat, you're just using the lashon of the Tanakama based on the pasuk esaviyah mischalelu. So the bottom line is the shita of Rebbe Elazar that says that you get skila. That's speaking about what? When she's in the rishus of the father. This one that Sreifa is speaking when she's in the rishus of the, not speaking when she's with them. It's speaking about when she's in the rishus of them, and that's the shita of the Chachamim. And Arusa Baskoya and according to Chacham stays with Skila, and when she becomes a Nesua, she's upgraded from Chenek to what? To Sreifa, and that's the shita of Rebbe Elazar. Okay, very good mark, guys. Good. So again, what we did, we had 4 shitas. I thought it'd be good for you, right? We had 4 shitas. We had 4 terutzim to fit in Rebbe Elazar of Shimon. The easiest one is the last one. Is the last one, right? What we had 3 shitas. The Rabbanan said what? Let's go. Arus in the Surah. He said what? Skila Sreifa. Rabbi Shimon said Sreifa. Rabbi Shmuel said Sreifa Chenek. We had 4 shitas, each one trying to fit in according to one or the other. We tried one Rabbi Shimon, we tried one Rabbi Yishmael, we tried one the Rabbanon, and we failed in all 3 departments. We finally concluded, according to Ravina, that Rebbe Elazar she's the Chachamim. Instead of saying what father-in-law Sreifa, father-in-law Skila, say when she's in the shus of the father, it's Skila because she's in Arusa, and when she's shus of the father-in-law, she's in the Surah, it's Sreifa. Very good. It sounds easy, right? In the end, yeah. Okay, right. Amar of Nachman, Amar Rab Ravua. Amar Rav, halacha, the halacha is, ki desholach rovin mishmei de Rabbi Yosi Reb Chanina. The case of Lamata Lamaila. Guys, attempt number 1. We were missing Mata Lamaila, that's the, now, fellas, When you say a psak halacha, what are you saying? You're saying this is what it means. We know what the halacha is. All we were trying to do is figure out the words of Rabbi Eliezer, what he meant, and fit them in the words of the Tanoim. You don't say halacha by that. All we try to do is fit in what does Rabbi Eliezer mean when he said Esavia is Sreifa, Veschamia is what? Is Skila. We're trying to figure that out. So comes along Rav Nachman and says, in the figuring out department, the halacha is like the first opinion. Says, first of all, I'm Rabbi Yosef, Hilchasel and Mashicha. No one's killing anyone now. Amalei Abai, Elamiyata, Shchitas Kachim, like listening. Halacha, Hilchas Mashicha. We shouldn't catch him because you don't be kabbanis now. What do you say? Dor shekibul schar. You learn in Mekabel schar. Hachanami dor shekibul schar. So what did Rabbi Yosef mean? Hachikami. This is what Rabbi Yosef. Hilchas Lamali. Why do you have to say who the halacha is like? Sugi the Shmaitza halacha kamar. You know what you meant? The sugi of the Shmaitza according to who? This. In other words, this sugi of the Shmaitza, who is the best pshat? You agree with what the best pshat was the first pshat. I lamata lamaylo. Okay, he doesn't now. In the case before, fellas, we said that Rabbi Shmuel said the Shita Arusa is Sreifa, and the Su is Chenek. How did he get that? How did he get there? Okay, that's what I want to know. My Rabbi Shmuel, the Tanya, Ubasish Kayin, Ki Seichel Lisnois, Esavia Hi Mechalelos Beish Tisaref. It's speaking Benaira, Vihi Arasa Kasam Medaber. It's a Naira, and she's an Arusa. Ata Oime Benaira Vihi Arusa. Maybe it's a Nesua also gets Sreifa. Talmud Leimar, Ish Asher Yinaf es Eishes Ish, Asher Yinaf es Eishes Reyehu. This is speaking about an Eishes Ish, a regular classic Eishes Ish. Most Yumas, Hanayf Efes. They both die, they both get Chenek. Regular, no Bas Kayin, regular case get Chenek. Fakol Hoya Bechlal Hanayf and Efes. Every illicit act was Bechal an Eishes Ish, Noyef and Haitzia Kosiv. Right, Bas Yisrael, Biskila, Ubas Koyim, Besreifa. Now we have two things that out of the parsha, right? Bas Yisrael when she's a Naim Marasa, and a Bas Koyim. Naim Marasa to Skila, and a Bas Koyim to Sreifa. Good. Ma Keshahoitzia Kosev Es Bas Yisrael from Chenek to Skila, Arusa V'Lainasua. Af Keshahoitzia Kosev Bas Koyim to Sreifa, Arusa V'Lainasua. You're going to get what? So in other words, we held all along the Nesua gets Sreifa. The Chachamim said you get Sreifa. Reb Shimon said you get Sreifa. Comes along Rabbi Shmuel and says you don't get Sreifa. That's, guys, our starting point. Starting point. Regular classic adultery and adulteress. They got a married man, married woman, they're together, Schenek. Comes along the Torah says there's two Yotzim in a Klals. What are they? A Bas Yisrael and a Naira Marasa. Good? A Bas Kohen and a Naira Marasa. Two Yotzim in a Klals. So good? Just like the Naira Marasa was taken out. It's speaking when she was in Arusa, that's when she gets what? Skila. Who had din the Bas Kohen? When does she get Sreifa? When she's like that, she's in Arusa. So he is the first one to disagree by Nesua. We held the Rabban and Rav Shimon Sreifa by Nesua. He says, no. Makes a lot of sense, Taka. His limud makes a lot of sense. Okay? Now, Zoymim Meha. What about the Zoymim? Made them Zoymim that they testify. Uboyala. Mechal Vasisno Kasha Zamam Lasais. Boyala, my Kasha Zamam. What are you speaking about? Where's the Boyala Kasha Zamam? It says, Ella Zoymim Meha. Bechal Mises Boyala. To put it together, the Zoymim they should get the same thing right as her. Mishum Shenemar Vasisam Loi Kasha Zamam Lasais Lachiv. Achiv Loi Lachoi. So I did Rabbi Shmuel that you're going to get the Zoymim and Boil. You're going to get of the Boil, not her. So just like he will get what Baskoye and he gets Chenek. So to what they'll get Chenek. Rabbi Kiva disagrees with Rabbi Shmuel. Achas Rusa ve'achas Nesua Yatzal L'Sreifa. Like the Chachamim before him, like the Rabbat, like Reb Shimon before him, and Nesua will get Sreifa. Yachal Afila Penuya. I might think even a Penuya, right? Nema Kanovia by Nair Murasa, Venema by Baskoyen, Venema Lahalam. We had this earlier by Nair Murasa, Avia. Malahalam by Nair Murasa is Nus Im Zikas Baal. Afkan, so too by Baskoyen is Nus Im Zikas Baal. The same limit we had before. Amalei Rabbi Shmuel. Imalahala Naira via Rusa. Afkan Naira via Rusa. How can you say in the Sua gets Sreifa? If you're going to go, guys, if you're going to make the limud for Naim Rasa and Loi Penuya, make the limud Arusa V'Loi Nesua. Guys, you hear? Guys, if you're going to make the limud from Naira to tell me Dafka Zika Sabal of an Arusa and not a Penuya, then make the limud Dafka Sreifa by an Arusa and not by an Nesua, which Rabbi Shmuel Taka does. He says you get chenek. Nachamal says Rabbi Akiva, both a bas koyin, I should say arusa, a bas koyin nesua will get sreifa. Where does he know that from? He knows that from the fact he has a via from Naim Rasa. Just like a Naim Rasa, when does she get skila? When there's zika sabal, so too a bas koyin. When does she get sreifa? With a zika sabal. Right, with a zika sabal. That was the limit wide of. That was the limit of what of. Okay, comes so therefore that's why it can't be a penuya. That's why it can't be a penuya, right? Why did Rabbi Akiva say? Rabbi Akiva said from the Gzeira Shava, you need zik sabal. But what about sreifa? What about sreifa? He said you get sreifa. Good. Now comes from Rabbi Shmuel, says 1 second. How do you know she has to be married? You learn from Naim Marasa. So how do you know that? What that's a Marasa, right? How do you know sreifa by Nesua? You're playing both sides of the fence. You're telling me the whole din of sreifa is by a what? Murasa. So how can you say that? Why it's not? How can it exist by what? By a Nesua. So Amar Rabbi says Rabbi comes from Rabbi Shmuel. Amar Rabbi Shmuel. Imala hala naira v'arusa afkan naira v'arusa. If you tell me by bas koyin, if you tell me by a naira bas Yisrael, it's only when she's in arusa. Who are then a naira bas koyin only when she's in arusa and not in a Nesua. On Rabbi Akiva, Yishmael Lachi, Ubas ani Doirish. I dash him from the extra vav. Ubas. Even when she's what? She's an Nesua. Amalei Rabbi Shmuel says, V'chimnei she'ata Doirish bas ubas. Since you dash him when it could have said bas, and it says ubas, Noitzi zeh, you're going to take this bas koyin and and put her at the sreifa, that's chamura. It's enough that she dies with chenek. V'mashmalacha, to learn from mivas Esanasua, lahavi esa penuya. Then you should include a penuya. V'mashma lahitzi esa penuya, lahitzi esa nesua. In other words, how do guys? You're playing both sides of the fence, Rabbi Akiva. You're playing both sides of the fence. What are you telling me? You're telling me that the din of naira, the din of baskoyin is limited to a naira who is married. The din is speaking. You're learning out from Gzeira Shava, right? So your question is, how do you know Penuya doesn't get sreifa? Because it says Renam Rasa. Good. So then, how do you learn that an Nesua gets sreifa? If you're learning out from what? From Nair Murasa, that only when she's married and not when she's a Penuya, you should learn out Nair Murasa that you get sreifa only when she's a Amurusa and not when she's a what? A Nesua. You're going to say the Vav? So he doesn't seem to buy that. When it could have said bas, it says ubas. Noitzi zeh, you're going to take in the suah bas koyin l'sreifa. Ve'ima imashma l'chol lohavi esan nesua. If the vav is the mashma nesua, then lohavi esa penuya. You should include the penuya as well. Ve'im lahaitzi esa penuya, and if it's going to exclude a penuya from sreifa, lahaitzi gam esa nesua, you should take out nesua from sreifa. Rabbi Akiva, ahani gzeir shava lemute penuya. Have the Gzeira Shava from Nair Murasa to go ahead and exclude Penuya. The Hani Basu Bas, the Rabbi says Nesua. And I have the Vav to include Nesua Linian Sreifa. Rabbi Shmuel, who asked the question in the first place, Sava Mitik Amalei Bas Ubas, Shmami no Hodaba Gzeira Shava. He asked the Kasha, you know why? When you needed the Ubas, it's to go ahead and take you away from the Gzeira Shava. Rabbi Shmuel, Hi Basu Bas my Darish Bey. What does Rabbi Shmuel, why does he do with Basu Bas? He boy the Tanya. We find by a koyin, we make a chilik ben tamimim lebalei mumim. The bal mum can't do the avodah. Yochel nachlek b'ben asayim. Maybe guys, the daughter of a koyin bal mum doesn't get sreifa. Maybe only a koyin gets sreifa. His daughter gets sreifa because he's ready to do the avodah. But we see there's a difference between a koyin and a balmum, koyin balmum, linyan avoda. Let's say there's a difference between a koyin mat, balmum, and a regular koyin linyan mat, linyan daughter. Yechol nachlik b'ben asayim. Tamaleimer bas ubas. That's what ubas even mat even a balmum. Rabbi Akiva, where does he know that from? Right? The pasuk says, "Kedoshim yiyu leEloheihem, leYichalu Shem Eloheihem, ki Yasishi Adonai Lechem Eloheihem Heimakrivim v'Hoyu Kodesh." He doesn't know Kodesh. Rabbi Akiva, maybe Akiva v'Hoyu Kodesh. Nafka. The word the Hoyu Kodesh, they're always Kodesh. Rabbi Shmuel Imeahi Ava Min Hani Milu Inu. Only they're Kodesh. I'm going to say him loy, but I'm saying not Kamash Malon. Okay, Kamash Malon that ubas, that even their children, even they have Kodesh, they have a din of a bas Kayed. Now, Rabbi Yishmael, who learns that from a Mehmet Sinu to Naim Marasa, and he doesn't need the Gzer Shava, right? Guys, he learned that from just like Naim Marasa speaking when she is a zik, you have the zik of a Baal. Okay, so he doesn't know the Gzer Shava. Hi Esavia he machalas my darshpei. Why does he dash in the Gzer Shava? What does he do with the? What does Rabbi Shmuel do with the Avia? My darshpei. Be boiled for the Tanya. Hey Remeya oimer. Ma tamaloi me Esavia he machaleles. Shem hoya no hegen ba kodesh no hegen ba choil. Kovid no hegen ba bezayin. How would they? In other words, you went ahead and you had a daughter and she did this. Oimrim, they would say Orush Shizu Yolad. Curse this guy who gave birth to her, fathered her. Orush is a Gidel raised her. Orush Yotzim Echalasav that came out of your loins. That's Avia Michalalis. That they would mamish verbalize it. Ravashi. It was tough times, guys. No snowflakes in those days, right? Right. It wouldn't work over. Ravashi. Come on, Karina Rashia bar Rashia. Who do we call a Rashia bar Rashia? I feel a Rashia bar Tzadika. Even a Rosh who's a tzaddik, Kiman Kahai Tana. Like this Tana says, the guy can be a tzaddik Goma, but if his daughter goes off, they're going to curse him like he gave birth to such a child. Zu mitzvahs an eskalin. The Mishnah said these are the mitzvahs an eskalin. My Tana, the Ketani zu mitzvahs an eskalin. Mishnah the Tana. Again, we learned all the halachas before, and guys, we learned Eluhen eskalin. Then we learned Nigmar Din, and we mentioned Skila. Nigmar Din might see us el saklai based on Skila hayagvay shtei kaimais. Right, the kaboyle misnei mitzvahs an esrafim. Tananami zu mitzvahs an eskalin. Since the next Mishnah we're going to discuss the mitzvahs an esrafim, so therefore we said mitzvahs ha eskalin.